Free spirit, that's our theme for the month. Welcome. It's good to see everybody again. So free spirit, to live the life of a free spirit, to be absolutely free, it's all about being and becoming. And that's really important, the being and becoming, because it's a tad bit different than the life of manifestation. Manifestation is that creative process that we use to create into form those things that we want to shift. That's fun, and it's playful, and I highly recommend it. But ultimately, it's not going to lead to our freedom, because the manifestation then often becomes then our resolution to our problems. But it's still a thing of the form. Anything that's in this world that we are creating is temporary. Everything, whether it's relationships, jobs, or creative expression. We know about the Tibetan monks who create the beautiful sand mandalas, and then they erase it as soon as they're done. They spend hours, days creating this incredibly intricate, beautiful work of art, and then they erase it. And I was thinking of it recently because Diane made this great lighthouse, and she said, "Oh, it's been up there long enough, we have to move it." I'm like, no! So I thought, oh yeah, I have to be able to release when it's time. But we'll just move it. Diane is the one who did this, by the way. Great. That's the lighthouse. So, manifestation is a wonderful act to play with, but if we use it to resolve our whatever is happening out there that we're unhappy with, what we discover is that what John Kabat-Zinn said, wherever you go, there you are. So you can create this new job or this new relationship, and it can be fantastic at first, but ultimately when you're there for a while, you start realizing, oh, I'm still the same person inside. I haven't really changed much. So the circumstances change, and it's more what I want, but I'm still unhappy. And then things start showing up again that were there before. Because the essence of our journey is about us changing within. And so how do we do that? It's, in essence, the process of death. You know, there was a reading today. I was thinking, well, that was a strange reading that I picked. But what Yogananda is talking about is actually what all the spiritual masters are talking about, which is we have to let go. That this entire journey is about letting go. You know, we see it in Christianity with the cross, the death, but also Jesus said you have to give up everything. If you want to follow me, you have to give up everything. Buddha gave up everything. In Hinduism, they say have no attachments and no resistance. Participate fully in life, but don't be attached to it. That when we have that, and then they have their practices in Christian mysticism. If you go into some of the old monasteries, you go into some of their rooms, and they have the skulls of previous monks. And the reason why they do that is to remind people constantly that this is temporary. Everything you're doing is temporary. In Buddhism, the monks are constantly letting go in preparation, exactly what Yogananda was talking, specifically to prepare themselves for that time of when they leave their physical body. They can leave effortlessly. They just depart. Yogananda, when he died, I think I've mentioned this before, he died at a party, and he just was hanging out. And he told somebody it was his time to go, and off he went. Yes. There wasn't fear. And in order to live a free life, it's about learning how to live that freedom moment to moment. To live without attachment and resistance. Our entire dance on this human existence. As Yogananda says, that the whole reason why we're here on this planet, we wouldn't even been birthed if we weren't still engaged in some karmic desires, and some desires that we're still trying to work out. So we spend a lot of our time creating new circumstances and conditions, trying to heal old ideas just to be free. And the way I look at it, just a year ago. Who is here for my my month-long series on Shawshank Redemption? Is it there? Yes. That I always so great. You're still here. But that's my favorite because that's such a great example of he's in a prison because just as soon as we're in birth, we're in prison. Because now we're in the prison of, no, not the birth itself, but the identity with our birth, our body, with the circumstances. The moment we're birthed, we're in a prison because it's temporary. And if we're attached to it, it's going to end. So we hold on and try not to let it go. And what I love about the analogy when he was in the Shawshank prison, he made it better. He brought in a library. He went around the rules. He got beautiful music playing for the prisoners. He was changing the circumstances of the prison, but he was still in a prison. And to me, that's in essence what manifestation does. We start making things better, and it's definitely better. I mean, the conditions he created for that life was definitely better and preferable. So we want those preferences, but we're still in a prison. And ultimately, the spiritual journey is about breaking free, and it's not about breaking free just at the very end of life, because as we know, that when we leave this body, that's just the ending of this life and onto other dimensions. So we're constantly going through transitions. So we don't want to always be living in the future. In the future, I'll be happy. In the future, if I create these conditions, I'll be happy. What we want to do is be in the moment. And what we have to do is die in the moment. I think of the 5 stages of grief that Elizabeth Kubler-Ross came up with. The denial, bargaining, anger, depression, and acceptance. We go through that all the time. I went through that when I had Julian. You know, I was so excited all my life I wanted to have a baby. But I wasn't focusing on that. I was focusing on ministry. So even when I was pregnant, people in the church are like, well, what are you going to do when you have Julian? I'm like, I don't know, the same thing I'm doing. And they're just looking at me because I was clueless. And I will never forget, after I had him, because everything is like, what kind of birth are you going to have? It was so focused on the birth. But it was afterwards, I thought, I had no idea how much of my freedom I was going to lose. I was 38 when I had Julian. I was so used to so much freedom. And I went through anger and depression. I don't know if, I might have bargained, I'll get my baby back. No, I'm kidding. Because change is, I mean, it was a life change that I was never going to go back to being that single person. I will be a mother now for the rest of my life on this earth. That role that I was playing was different. So I had the experience of being trapped. Like, wow, I really have to take care of it. I don't have that freedom I had before. And I went through some anger around that because I had just become a minister too, and I felt like I had suddenly changed that life as well without realizing I had done it. And I think that happens with death all the time when we have a change of job, a change of anything, where we live, a new car. It always changes. Who we were in that moment before is suddenly changed. We're always in this dance. And the idea and the practice that we're trying to get to, just to cut to the chase, is acceptance. So all this work that we're trying to do is the highest, that when we go through those stages of grief, is just to get to the place of acceptance. So the practice that I'm going to invite you to do all week is, can I accept this moment just as it is? Can I, bless you, can I accept that sneeze? It was so funny. I was being with this interiorly this morning, and Julian put on, thank you, Jack, put on his headphones and was singing to AC/DC. Like, I'm trying to think, can I accept this moment? Breathe. But that's what we're doing. We're trying to say, can I accept in this moment whatever is arising right now, right here? We're in this service. This service is never going to happen. Tomorrow, this service will be over, and this service will never happen again for the rest of our life. It's temporary. And yet, that temporariness can feel eternal when we're present. So every present moment, can I accept it as it is right now? And it's easy sometimes. Sometimes it's easy to accept that present moment. And sometimes the present moment isn't easy because it's boring. Sometimes we might resist the mundaneness. I'm just doing the same thing I do all the time. And often we want to resist the present moment because it's full of all sorts of things that we don't want. You know, some of our biggest challenges about really feeling free in this world, they're actually intertwined, is love and responsibility. that I've talked in the past about our long to-do list or our task list, but we have to remember that task list is just the surface. That task list, our to-do list that we have every day to do, represents all the depth of connection that we feel to so many different people and the responsibilities that we feel towards one another and that we experience towards our family members, towards our friends, towards our employers, towards our colleagues, that we feel this incredible. So the task list, it may be just a to-do list, but it's a to-do list that represents these responsibilities. And when we have these incredible responsibilities that we have to get done, not because they matter, because they are important, not just to us, but to other people, they are important for our survival and for our thriving, we can feel imprisoned by those responsibilities. So is it possible to actually feel freedom in the midst of all these responsibilities? And that's where we go back again to acceptance. There is a part of us, I think, that hopes someday that those responsibilities are going to go away. That we'll eventually don't have, and they do lessen as we get older, our children grow up. Although there was a father yesterday, we were at a baseball game, and his mom called. He's got older children, but his mom called, and she's giving him a hard time. You're like, man, she just never stops being a mom. Our children get older, the responsibility is less. We have sometimes parents to take care of. That starts to go away, and we become freer. We may retire. We don't have responsibilities to employers, but the responsibility continues. It just can lighten. It can lighten, not necessarily. Then we have health responsibilities. So what we need to recognize, what I have need to recognize on my journey is that it's never ending. That this participating, this sense of responsibility, this effort and this struggle on some level is always going to be there. And that's a big one, because I think in my mind there's always a sense of someday it'll end. If I'm just enlightened, I won't struggle anymore, or somehow everything will shift. And I love, we're reading One Taste, and one of the things Ken Wilber points out is meditation and enlightenment isn't going to change the fact that you still have to pay your bills and that you still have responsibilities to show up and difficult things that you have to work through. It doesn't take life away from us. We still have to engage in the challenges that arise moment by moment in our life. The question is how are we with those challenges, and can we be free in the moment of those challenges as even possible? So in accepting this moment, can I accept this moment right now? That's a question I would like you to ask yourself throughout this week. Can I accept this moment? And you're going to find there's a lot of moments that you can accept, but then there's going to be a lot of moments that you don't want to accept, that are just, I got to do this thing, or I have so much work to do, and I feel overwhelmed. And then when we're working, we just forget about time because we get so focused. Can I accept this moment? Can I accept my responsibilities moment to moment, rather than always thinking in the future of how, when conditions change, I'm going to be different? Can I accept this moment? And what I've discovered and have been discovering, I've been working on this, is there starts to become a peace that starts to arise, even if I don't, it's not when I accept this moment that I necessarily like this moment. So it's authentic. We want it to be an authentic acceptance. So even if you're disagreeing with something I'm saying right now, I don't agree with what she's saying, can we accept this moment where I'm in disagreement? Can I accept being in disagreement? Can I accept that I don't like this moment? I don't like what's arising in this moment. I don't like the struggles. I don't like that. Can I accept that? And it's not I am accepting it, it's affirming, it's asking the question, can I accept it? Can I accept it? Because now it's not forced. So much we do this affirmations, I am accepting all that's arising moment to moment as the glory and the beauty and harmony of God. And sometimes we shut away how we really feel. The can I accept this allows the negativity to arise, but it doesn't have to own us. Whatever that negativity is, we can see it. No, I don't know if I can accept this moment. Okay, can I accept that part of me that isn't willing to accept right now? That's amazingly freeing. Can I accept that part of me that's not willing to accept this moment? Just that question makes us aware of the gateway to our freedom. We are suddenly becoming more aware of that tunnel that's going to lead us to freedom, which is eventually, it's going to be in the acceptance that we find our freedom. So even if I can't accept this moment, just to acknowledge that I'm conscious enough to even ask that question knows that I'm beyond my anger or my depression or my bargaining or my denial that this is always going to be this way. And what starts to happen is we start to feel that underlining always already peace that passes all human understanding. We start to experience that love. I have to make this point. In Buddhism, there's a thing called Vipassana meditation or insight meditation or witness meditation. We've done it in our classes where we're witnessing ourselves. Like right now, there's a part of you that can witness yourself. That part of us that's witnessing ourselves right now, sitting in our chair, thinking our thoughts, feeling our feelings, is something we can't see. The witness is something you can't see, taste, touch, hear, or smell. You can't put your finger on it. There are some in Buddhism who say that this emptiness, this is the void. But I love that Shunryu Suzuki was very clear that this emptiness is also fullness. But it's not full with our attachments and our desires. It's a fullness beyond anything we could ever humanly imagine. It transcends all our human concepts. And that's what we're getting in touch with. When we say, can I accept this moment? The more we can accept this moment, what you will notice, at least what I have noticed, is I relax. The moment I even ask the question, I just relax, my body starts to open up, and we start to touch into that ever-present reality. Eckhart Tolle and The Power of Now, so many people love that book because as they're reading it, they suddenly stop thinking about the future, and we're suddenly in the moment, in this moment. There's no other moment than now. There's no other reality than this moment right now, ever. There will never be any other moment than this moment. Can I accept this moment as it is? And can I accept that there are times that I don't like things that are arising? Can I just accept that? And what starts to happen is I can accept even the negative things. My heart starts to open even more, and I become more free. Those limits and those walls, those judgments of things has to be this way for me to know the peace that passes human understanding. These things have to be this way for me to know this infinite, ever-present, unconditional love. Those start to dissolve. All those conditions, we live in a human mind of so many conditions. And what we are doing, our breaking free, is breaking free of all those conditions, all those borders and boundaries that we say that we absolutely need to know our inherent, always already freedom. Heaven on earth is now. Our freedom is now. We don't need to change the world. I just popped in my mind. This week I was reading someone was saying Jesus was a social activist, and so should we be. I thought, no, he wasn't a social activist. They were trying to get him to fight Rome. Barabbas was saying, become part of our movement to fight Rome, and he kept saying, if you think getting free from Rome is going to make you feel free, then you're still lost in the illusion. It will be better. It's like being in the prison. The circumstances will be better, and that will be definitely true, but that's not the freedom we're looking. Ultimately, it's not the freedom that we're looking for. We are looking for absolute freedom, and we want it now. We don't want to wait, always futurize it. In the present moment, accept the peace that passes human understanding, arising in the moment, and then the next moment. And what we then want to move to is, can I feel pure love in this moment? As I accept this moment, to me, acceptance is a gateway to God's pure, unconditional love. And we want to get to the place where love isn't just an abstract concept. Love isn't just an emotion that we feel when we fall in love with someone or we feel really connected. It's an emotional personality thing. That there is a literal underneath love that is so alive and tangible. Tangible. Even though we cannot see, taste, touch, or hear or smell it, it is tangible. And the gateway to that ever-present love in every single moment is acceptance. There is no way we are ever going to feel that love if we're not accepting the present moment. In any part of us, if we are rejecting that present moment, we won't experience love. Can I feel love in this very moment? Can I accept that God's unconditional, pure love, this transcendent love, is in, through, and as all of life, all the love that has ever been and ever will be is right now? That's the next step after can I accept this moment. If I can accept this moment with whatever is arising, no matter how much it makes my heart wants to constrict. And that sometimes that's not even in our personal life. It's when we watch the news, when we see what's happening in our country, when we see what's happening in our world. I can't accept this. I can't accept this. Don't try to. Then we get in, well, in our classes we'll get into how can we accept this or what can we do. There's a place where we just want to stop analyzing it and saying, okay, I just don't accept it. This is not okay. Can I be okay with not accepting this? Over and over, you just want to get back to, can I get to some place of accepting wherever I am? That's where it's authentic. I don't accept this. Okay, can I accept my not acceptance? Even accepting my not acceptance, my heart starts to open again. I start to relax. I start to be okay with all my negativity, with my own negativity, with my own imperfections, with my own smallness. And that's when we start tapping into unconditional love. To live a life of freedom is not about living a life in the future. Living a life of freedom can only be experienced right now. Living a life as a free spirit can only happen as we accept completely, unconditionally, unlimitedly every single moment as it's arising. Whether we like it or don't like it, can we accept it? And when we do that, and the more and more we do that throughout our days, our hours, our days and our weeks and our months and our years, we are going to experience that freedom that is our natural birthright. That we are born, we are always living in freedom that has no birth and no death. So are you willing, first of all, did anyone go back and try the God looking at your life from the perspective of God's will and your will? Did anyone do that? Trish, you did it? You guys are bad at your homework assignments. How was it? Did you hear what he said? I said, you're bad at homework assignments. He said, I accept that. That was great. What was it like?
To me, well, I've pondered this before, so I realized that my will is God's will, and God's will is my will, because they're one will.
So did you actually go through your life and the details of your life and see how that was operating?
Yeah, because I think it happens all the time.
Yeah. It's just...
But as I said, if I don't resist it, then I think it's my will and God's forcing me.
Right. Oh, yeah. That's great. So we're gonna go to that next step. So who's gonna do the homework assignment? Just who's clear what the homework assignment is? Okay, you're clear what it is? Oh, okay. So
It's on the website. You're supposed to read it.
okay. All right, so now, so some of you raised your hand and understood the homework assignment, that you're going to ask yourself, can I accept this moment as much as you possibly can throughout the day, throughout the week? How many of you are actually going to do it? Yes. All right, so all next, oh no, I'm not going to be here now. I was going to say all next week, we're just going to just share. Oh, you're off the hook. Dang. All right, well, practice it. And, well, I'll know because the vibration in this room will just be so high. Oh, that's the last part, being and becoming. The more we accept, we become the change that we've been looking for. So it's not that we don't want to change the external world, but the external world starts to change as we change. As I accept and become unconditional love and accept all aspects of that's arising, the good and the bad, the more I do that and expand and expand and expand, and I know all of you have had this experience, the more we change internally of accepting everything that is happening, our whole world starts to change. Not because we've been forcing it and I want to make it happen and I'm attached to it because I won't be happy unless I get this change condition. When I change, the world starts to change around me and it's sustained. I can actually sustain the joy. I can sustain the love. I can sustain the freedom because it's coming from within me. It's something I've become rather than something I have. That's the difference between manifestation and becoming. Manifestation is something we have. Becoming is something about who we are. So the journey of a free spirit is about being and becoming. And so I know you all are becoming grander and grander, brilliant lights of God. And I won't even have to ask who did the homework because I'm going to feel it and experience it as all of you. Yes.